the slave who stole a Confederate ship and changed American history. At 3 o'clock in the morning, the harbor was silent. The city of Charleston slept behind its walls. Cannons stood ready along the coast. Confederate soldiers guarded the water. And just beyond the harbor, Union warships waited in the darkness. For most people trapped in Charleston in 1862, escape was impossible. But one man had a plan. His name was Robert Smalls. And before the sun rose, he would steal a Confederate ship, sail directly past enemy forts, and carry 16 people from slavery to freedom. Robert Smalls was born enslaved in Beaufort, South Carolina, in 1839. From the beginning, his life was controlled by other people. Where he could go, where he could work, whether he could stay with his family. But Robert was intelligent, observant, and calm under pressure. As a young man, he was sent to Charleston, where he worked near the docks. Over time, he learned the city's harbor, the dangerous channels, the locations of Confederate forts, and the signals ships used to pass safely through the water. He was working on a Confederate transport ship called the Planter. It carried military supplies, carried soldiers, and it carried information that could change the war. The ship's white Confederate officers trusted Robert because he knew the harbor better than almost anyone. But they never imagined what he was planning. On the night of May 12, 1862, the white officers left the ship to spend the evening on land. That was the opportunity Robert had been waiting for. He gathered the other enslaved crew members. Then they made a decision that could cost them their lives. They would take the Planter. Not only that, they would bring their families with them. Before dawn, women and children quietly boarded the ship. They hid below deck, knowing that if they were caught, there would be no second chance. Robert Smalls put on the captain's hat. From a distance, in the dark, he looked enough like the ship's Confederate commander. Then he took control. The Planter moved slowly through Charleston Harbor. Ahead were Confederate checkpoints. Behind them was slavery. Robert knew every signal the guards expected to hear. As the ship approached the first fort, he gave the correct whistle. The guards let them pass. Then another fort, another signal, another moment where one mistake could expose everything. On board, no one spoke. They could see the massive guns pointed toward the water. They knew that one suspicious guard, one wrong turn, one unexpected question could end their lives before morning. But Robert Smalls kept going. Finally, the Planter reached Fort Sumter. It was the last major Confederate defense between them and open water. Robert gave the correct signal. For a few seconds, nothing happened. Then the fort allowed the ship to pass. They were out, but they were not safe yet. Just beyond the harbor waited Union warships. From their position, the Planter still looked like a Confederate vessel. The Union sailors could have opened fire. So Robert Smalls did something extraordinary. He raised a white flag. The Planter moved toward the Union blockade. When the Union officers realized what had happened, they were stunned. An enslaved man had escaped Confederate territory by taking a military ship, carrying his family and others to freedom, and delivering a ship filled with valuable Confederate intelligence. Robert Smalls had not just escaped. He had struck a blow against the Confederacy. The information he provided helped the Union understand Charleston's defenses. The ship itself became part of the Union fleet, and Robert Smalls became a national hero. But his story did not end there. During the Civil War, he continued serving the Union cause. He helped recruit black soldiers and sailors. He became a captain. He fought for the country that had once denied him freedom. After the war, Robert returned to South Carolina. The man who had once been treated as property entered politics. He served in the South Carolina legislature. Later, he was elected to the United States Congress. Think about that. A man born into slavery became a representative in the government of the United States. Robert Smalls spent the rest of his life fighting for equal rights, education, and opportunity for Black Americans. He understood something many people still struggle to understand today. Freedom is not only about escaping oppression. It is also about having the power to shape what comes next. Robert Smalls could have disappeared into history after that night in Charleston Harbor. Instead, he turned one act of courage into a lifetime of service. He risked everything for freedom, and in doing so, he changed American history, because sometimes the most powerful people are not the ones who begin with wealth, fame, or power. Sometimes, they are the people who refuse to accept the limits placed on them. This was the story of Robert Smalls. Please subscribe the channel Beyond the Facts. And don't forget to turn on the bell icon.